martial art is expression of oneself. I mean, like, I personally believe that all type of knowledge, I don't care what it is, ultimately means self-knowledge.
Bruce didn't really want to teach beginners per se. He did have some, of course, in his own school.
All the fellows that Bruce taught were always showing up in our backyard, and there were heavy bags hanging from the patio rafters and different training equipment, and we had a big flat backyard, so there was always working out going on.
I remember distinctly as a kid, Brandon and I playing in the backyard. James Coburn and all the other, you know, my dad and Ted Wong, and they're all kicking the bags, and Brandon and I are just running in and out of the house, getting in the way and making all kinds of noise, disturbing the peace of their concentration in martial arts. But yeah, I mean, it was great.
Brandon, move. Call Brandon, get up.
Brandon, come here.
Is it turned on?
You would have, you know, all the martial artists gather, all the students, and they would be talking, and Brandon and I would be shifting under the tables, playing around.
I want to sing in this, Mom. What happened? Yes.
We would jump on the trampoline and yell and scream and annoy the adults, you know. And of course, you know, Uncle Bruce would have to say, knock it off, you know, be quiet.
Back to your mommy, stay there.
We were typical kids, you know, growing up around this amazing world, and, you know, it was really cool.
They were nice guys, you know. I didn't, or Bruce didn't think of them as looking up. Bruce always was someone that never looked down at people, never looked up at people, just looked straight across at people.
Don't miss the board.
Okay.
Hands off. I like it, you know why? Because you're so eager to come here.
Bruce, you were teaching martial arts in the States, and
Yes.
two of your students were Steve McQueen and James Coburn. Did you find them tough people, the way they're portrayed on the screen?
Well, first of all, James Coburn, definitely, is not a fighter. Lover, yes. I mean, he's really a super nice guy. I mean, not only that, he's a very peaceful man.
Short, wasn't it? Yeah. Once more.
He learned martial art because he finds that it is a very, very...
Hey, go on.
It is like a mirror to reflect himself.
Get the back jumping up and down. Oh! Once more. Oh! Damn it, that's it.
Hi.
That's it, though. That's when the loose shake.
Did I get you?
One more.
One more.
Shake loose and everything and really give it hell. You weren't sure when you run, doggone. I see you're hesitant.
I'm tired.
Bruce's time that he spent with James Coburn was valuable to both of them, really. James Coburn enjoyed more probably the philosophical side of martial arts, as well as the physical, but he and Bruce would sit for hours and talk about philosophy.
No, Jim.
Yeah.
Get your attitude, mental attitude, completely away from the previous one, and just like a beginner, you want to look at the bag and want to experiment. Ah, you see that? Okay, it's a little bit thrusting, but man, I see some fire in you in there.
When it came to big stars like that, they were the ones who were interested in Bruce and what Bruce had to offer.
The date is July 17th, exactly around a month after the first taping. This will be just a commentary. Now, first of all, I noticed that in this tape, that as it progresses, your feeling is more involved in the technique, and consequently, your technique also improves.
That was kind of sloppy. One more.
Sloppy? Was it done?
It was fun to have them over at our house. We didn't have lots of cars parked in front of our house trying to see who was there or anything like that.
I received an invitation to attend his orientation when he opened up his Lee Jung-Fun Kung Fu Institute in Chinatown, Los Angeles. When I went there, I wore my Kajukenbo pants, barefoot, my sweatshirt, and my black belt. And he came to me, put his hands around me. He says, "Richard Wright?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "What year is this?" And I was kind of puzzled. I said, "1967." He says, "Yes, 1967. We wear shoes, we wear jeans, we wear T-shirts, and this is how we're going to train what we wear every day." And that's reality now. That's practical reality. And so he's telling to the whole class, wear your boots, wear your jogging shoes, wear your dress shoes, wear dress pants, so you can feel the limitations of how you're going to be moving on the streets. And this is where Bruce Lee comes in. Make it practical, make it functional for yourself. Bruce Lee said later on he wished he hadn't named his art Jeet Kune Do, because people are going to rely on that name as an art or a style or a method of training. And Bruce Lee said, no, it's not a style or system. It's my own personal way of fighting.
Jeet Kune Do was, how can I most efficiently, directly end a moment of combat? And that's not to say that it can't be passed on, but it was very personal to him.
He always told me you need to research, you need to experiment, you need to create. If you research and experiment, then from the creation you will develop.
Man is always in a learning process. Style is a concluding, established, solidified something. You cannot do that, because you learn every day as you grow on.
It has to constantly evolve, not changing just for the sake of changing, but seeking to make it better.
Like many people look to an instructor. Most of them, they say, hey man, like, what is the truth? Would you hand it over to me? So therefore, one guy would say, now, I'll give you my Japanese way of doing this. And then another guy would say, I'll give you the Chinese way of doing it. To me, that's all baloney.
Those days, the traditional way of training, a student didn't know any better because they were taught to be respectful, to loyalty, and to do exactly as the teacher taught. And Bruce Lee comes up, he said, you cannot mimic, you cannot imitate the instructor. You, the individual, have to express yourself your own personal way. This is our Jeet Kune Do. At that time, it wasn't Jeet Kune Do, but today it is our Jeet Kune Do, the own personal expression.
He began to realize that his way of Kung Fu, which he eventually called Jeet Kune Do, was more of a one-on-one because the people learning it were not all the same. People have different gifts physically, can absorb philosophical thoughts in a different way to a different level. And so he felt that his way of Kung Fu had to be taught more one-to-one. Not that he couldn't ever have a class, but that he was not going to mass produce this all over the country. So then, at the same time, the acting thing became a maybe, and he thought, well, maybe if I go in that direction, I can change the path I'm on and still follow my passion, which is Kung Fu, and show it to the world through the medium of film.
Then when you do a martial art in film work, it's slightly different the way you do it combatively. It takes two people to make the person being punched and kicked and choked and smashed. He has to do it just as good as job to sell the movement. And that's what he discovered, that it takes two. And it's an artistry between the fighter or the hero and the person that's not the hero. You have to highlight it. You have to make it at least fascinating or believable, yet not too unbelievable, and you want to keep it to real as possible. That's when he says you got to use wide motions on film, because the short movements of Wing Chun do not take well, because it doesn't register in front of the audience. If you got a hit like that, you got to react to it. And the straight thing, if you don't react to it, they don't see it. You have to react to the shots.
Now let's run it back and see what happens.
That's his genius.
Beautiful. Let's see it.